For those who are unfamiliar, this is Julie Green. She fancies herself a prophet of God, makes all kinds of bizarre claims about prophecies that God has handed down to her from on high. Basically writes new Bible books. Julie Green, chapter 3, verse 2, or whatever, that kind of thing. Seriously. Well, a while back, mid-August actually, she prophesied that Nancy Pelosi is going to die before the midterms. Says she gets this message from God himself. If you haven't been watching the news, there's actually an attack on Nancy Pelosi's husband. We're going to talk about that in a second, but just listen to her prophecy first, and then we're going to talk about it. Check this out, mid-August 2022.
They know Nancy can't handle the presidency. No, they know she's a drunk, but they know she is dying.
Who knows she's a drunk? Who says that Nancy Pelosi is a drunk? Where did she come to that conclusion? I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm not even saying it's unlikely, but how would she know that? I haven't heard a word about Nancy Pelosi being a drunk.
They know she's a drunk, but they know she is dying, and they helped with that.
Who is they, I hear you asking? Nobody knows. Some ambiguous, secretive authority, the puppet masters that pull all the strings and give the demon known as Nancy Pelosi her orders. I mean, it gets crazy, dude, really. It gets so bizarre. You think it's bizarre now, just wait. She goes completely off the rails in a minute, as if she's ever on the rails.
They are now disposing of anyone they feel is no longer useful to them.
They, again, use of the word they. By the by, the word they, when she uses it here, generally she's referring to the cabal, aka the Jews. QAnon, which she's a member of, is basically a Nazi cult rebranded. They use a lot of code words for Jews, like globalists or Soros or they or whatever else, but when they're referring to these figures, it's usually referring to Jews. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Let's keep listening.
She failed the puppet masters with her 2 impeachments that didn't work. No assignment and anything they gave her against Trump, it didn't work. So now she is seen as a failure. Her days are coming to an end, and she will not last until the 2020 midterm elections.
Okay, now there's the prophecy. It's not a prediction, it's a prophecy. That's very important to remember. Here's why that's relevant. Nancy Pelosi's husband, dude's name is Paul Pelosi, I think. He was attacked in his home by a QAnoner the other day. Who is the man accused of attacking Nancy Pelosi's husband? This is on New York Times. A trial of strained relationships, an itinerant life that included a stint living in a storage unit, a personality that was consumed by darkness. Accounts from people who knew the man accused of the break-in and violent attack Friday on Paul Pelosi, the husband of House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, described indications of a troubled individual and growing signs of politically fueled hate. That man, 42, remains in custody and will likely face several charges, including attempted homicide and assault with a deadly weapon as early as Monday, with an arraignment expected Tuesday, the authorities said. So let me explain basically what happened. From my understanding, the police showed up because there was some kind of a disturbance, and when they walked in, they saw the guy wrestling a hammer away from Paul Pelosi, or vice versa, I'm not really sure, and he was hitting Paul Pelosi with it, Nancy's husband, and he hit him so hard that he had to have brain surgery or skull surgery. I'm not super exactly sure what happened, but anyway, it was a QAnon-fueled hate crime. It was an anti-Democrat, anti-Nancy Pelosi hate crime or whatever. So here's the question. Was Julie Green correct on this point? Because I saw people in my comments talking about the fact that Julie Green prophesied that Nancy Pelosi wouldn't make it to the midterms. And now Paul Pelosi was attacked. I guess Nancy wasn't even there. The answer, I don't see how anybody could see this any differently than the way that I see it. It was very obviously and clearly a failed prophecy. God was not up in there in any way, right? If God had given this message to Julie Green, had actually given it to her, then why wasn't the message there would be an attempted attack on her life? not she will not make it to the midterms. That's oddly specific, right? Since I feel I've established that God was not mixed all up in there in any way, I feel like it should draw attention to the fact that she seems to have had prior knowledge that Nancy Pelosi was going to be attacked before the midterms. Since we've established she didn't get this prophecy from God, that means it was a prediction. Was it an informed prediction or not? I don't know. But it's kind of concerning when she comes out of the woodwork and says something like that. And within a couple of months of that, there is actually an attempt on their life, a failed attempt on their life. Not for nothing, but Julie Green, she actually has a YouTube channel. I don't know if you guys were aware of that, but somebody tweeted this at me the other day. She's released a bunch of other bizarre supposed prophecies that I want to look at in just a second, but there was one more thing that I wanted to pull up because I found it kind of entertaining. Check this out. Somebody sends me her YouTube channel, and I go in and look, and it's got a bunch of origami videos. Bizarrely, she didn't have a YouTube channel before. Now she does have a YouTube channel with 159,000 subbies on it and origami videos. Isn't that interesting? Now, not to put a puff in my own petticoat or toot my own horn, if you will, but I happen to know a little bit about YouTube. And I've seen this type of thing before. Interestingly, there are companies or people or whatever that will create a YouTube channel and they'll post some random stupid thing that catches people's attention. They'll post Baby Shark cover songs, or they'll post origami folding or whatever other thing. And they'll build up an audience of 150,000 subbies or something like that, and then they'll sell the channel. I've had offers to purchase my YouTube channel before. It's usually like $1 per subby, so $350,000 for my 350,000 subby channel. I wouldn't do that. Why would I? That would be a ridiculous and terrible business decision. But anyways, yeah, that's the idea. I find it fascinating that Julie Green basically purchased a YouTube channel with 160K subbies on it just so she could spread her message on YouTube. It's only a matter of time before she gets banned, I'm sure of it, for spreading all kinds of nonsense and hate speech and misinformation. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. The point here is Julie Green has been spouting off propagandistic nonsense for years at this point. Check this one out. This is from late October 2022. Reasonably new. Check it out.
My children, many warnings I have given to you, but there is coming a day that it will be too late. So listen to these words and listen to my prophets. And dare to believe.
When she says listen to my prophets, she means listen to me, because I know what I'm talking about. I'm getting these messages from God, and I'm special for that reason, and you should listen to every word I say and believe it unquestioningly. That's her whole bit.
And dare to believe me more than your enemies.
Dude, why is she crying right now? Seriously, why is she crying?
More than religion. More than the news stations.
Let me explain how she does this. God, she is something else, man. She claims to receive divine prophecy from God before she's live streaming. And then she writes it all down in like a book kind of thing. And then she reads the book out. So it's basically like the Book of Green chapter 3 that she's reading to us right now. That's why she's staring at the screen and looks up every now and then and corrects herself and stuff. Because this is all nonsense that she wrote down before the show.
More than the governments. More than your doctors. More than your bank accounts.
She's telling us to trust her more than our doctors or the news or the governments or anybody else. Sorry, you're going to have to give me reason to do so.
Dare to believe me more than what you see and what you hear. Herschel Walker will be in the news, and victory will be with his name.
Oh, yeah, this is before the midterms actually happen. So Herschel Walker is running in Georgia at this moment. If you're not keeping up with the news or you're watching 5 years in the future, he's running against Raphael Warnock, and they are neck and neck at the moment. Dead heat right now. They are within the margin of error, so it's a statistical tie. She is not predicting that Herschel Walker will win. She's prophesying it. Distinct difference. She's prophesying his win. And think about this, okay? What she's prophesying has a 50-50 chance of happening. Either Herschel Walker will be the senator, or Raphael Warnock will be the senator, right? I could just as easily come out here and say Raphael Warnock is going to win. God told me it's true. Now, if Raphael Warnock really does win, does that mean I speak to God? Of course it doesn't. But that's the conclusion she wants you to draw. This is her whole bit. She throws out ideas and claims that have like a 50-50 shot of taking place or happening or working out or whatever in her favor. And when some of them work out by chance, she points to them and says, hey, check it out. I was right. I really do speak to God. It's called the Texas sharpshooter fallacy, where you focus in on the hits and ignore the misses. Pretend they never happened. So keep listening to her use the Texas sharpshooter fallacy basically nonstop to build credibility.
Civil unrest is about to occur. It will look like, oh, United States.
You notice that the things that she mentions, if at all possible, are so nebulous and ambiguous that you could pick out literally any moment in U.S. history and say, look, civil unrest was taking place at this specific point in history. You know why? There are 320-something million people in the U.S. Of course there's going to be civil unrest. There's a protest at Times Square pretty much every single day. Somebody is protesting something somewhere in the United States every single day. So this is how she does it. She makes nebulous claims that have a 50-50 shot of being true or not, and when they come true, on the rare occasion, she uses it to bolster her own credibility. And she uses vague things that are always happening. Like she'll say, just wait, in the next year, there will be an earthquake. Of course there will. There are earthquakes all over the planet all the time. There's nothing notable about that. But somehow she's suckered people into believing she knows what she's talking about.
Your enemies will see their defeat in all the states they tried so desperately to steal, and they lost anyway. They will try other ways to stop the lame duck. But that lame duck is being removed by me.
What does that mean? I don't understand. She emphasized the words lame duck. Like, what is she trying to communicate? I'm desperately trying to understand here. A lame duck is somebody who has been voted out but still has to complete their term, but they don't really have anything to do for the remainder of their term. Like the last 6 weeks of Obama's term, he was a lame duck. I just don't understand what she's trying to communicate. Is there like some secret underlying message she has for us?
But that lame duck is being removed by me.
I just don't even know. I don't know. Just complete nonsense top to bottom. And she is so confident she knows what she's talking about. Here's another one for mid-October 2022. Check it out.
Catastrophe will be seen in Canada. Trudeau is coming down and he is being removed.
Trudeau is coming down and he's going to be removed. Now, think about what she just said, okay? Trudeau is, 40, 50 years old? I don't know how old the dude is. He's the Prime Minister of Canada. He's 50. Wow, that's a lot older than I thought he was. Well, anyways, at some point in the next 30 years, Trudeau is most definitely going to be out of office, right? He's not going to be in there forever. So what Julie Green just said is vague enough that either A, she could have gotten inside information from somebody involved in the Canadian government, or B, it doesn't matter if she's wrong or not, because eventually she will be right. She just gave us something that is impossible to get wrong. She didn't give us a time frame. She didn't say Trudeau is going to leave office on January 19th, 2023, or whatever other. She didn't get specific with it, which means she is guaranteed to be right at some point. But people fall for this. They fall for it.
He will say he's stepping down, but it's not because he wants to. Truth is coming out regarding Trudeau. He tried to play both sides. He tried to have everything he wanted, but the deep state, everything he wanted to do, and the deep state didn't want him to. I'll get that right, I promise.
Again, she wrote all of this down beforehand in basically a new Bible book, and she's reading it out verbatim because, this is a message from God, so naturally she has to read it out verbatim. Just insane.
His pride and arrogance grew and grew until he became unmanageable. He wasn't the yes man they wanted him to be.
They, again, notice use of the terms they. It's the deep state. They're controlling everything from behind the scenes. They're puppet masters, pulling all the strings. Seriously, when she says things like this, she's referring to the Jews. I mean, I don't know how to make that any clearer. And if you doubt me or you want to know more about why I say that, just go to my main channel, watch a video titled The Source of All Conspiracies, a 1902 document called The Protocols. I'll put it in the description of this video when it finally releases. It is about a book called The Protocols of the Elders of Zion that was forged in 1902. And seriously, it's the source of all conspiracy theories. It blames everything on the Jews. All of the conspiracies that she's laid out for us, all of the beliefs that she holds, all of the QAnon nonsense that she espouses, all comes from that book, The Protocols. When she is making bizarre claims about puppet masters and some ambiguous they out there, she's talking about Jews. Whether she realizes that or not, that was the source. That was what the original conspiracy was all about.
So now he is being cut off, you would say. So Canada, proclaim your deliverance. We see that my hand is moving in your land to save you from those taskmasters. I am here and I am cleansing your land. You will see Trudeau exposed and you will see him fall. Big time, saith the Lord.
Great. So not only is he going to resign, but according to her, Trudeau is going to have a scandal so massive that he's going to have to quit and he'll have no choice, right? Again, even if this came true, it would not be evidence that she speaks to God. It would be evidence that either she guessed right by chance or she had inside information. You want me to really believe that you're a prophet of God and have inside information, then do something truly astonishing and write down a very specific prophecy with names and dates and specific events on a piece of paper, mail it to me, and in 5 years I will open it and see if those exact events and times matched up. And if they do, and there's no other way it could have possibly been anything else, I'll believe you're a prophet. Not a second sooner. And that should be everybody's bar. Why is it that she has any followers? I know she just bought a YouTube channel with 159K subbies on it, but she has a Rumble account that she built herself. She is the campaign prophet for the Doug Mastriano campaign for governor of Pennsylvania. She's not a nobody. Before we continue, I just wanted to mention something. If you like what I do and you want to see me continue to do it, you can support me in a few ways. First, there's Patreon. That's probably the best way. But if you want to get something back for your support, you can check out my Teespring. Or you can check out my Telltale Unfiltered channel. I go through long-form, unhinged sermons from all kinds of people, from Hank Kunneman to Greg Locke to Jehovah's Witnesses. So give it a look. Links are in the description. Okay, now back to the video. Let me give a little bit of lead up to this before we watch this next one. This is early October 2022. A hurricane had just run into Florida, a serious one. It was like a Category 5, Hurricane Ian. And there just so happen to be prophets that live in the area, supposed prophets of God, who claim to be able to control the weather. Why didn't they stop the hurricane from ramming into their house? Your guess is as good as mine. Who knows? Guess they wanted to make a point that they are, with the people, or I don't know. Make something up and it'll make more sense than what they have to tell us. So anyways, a hurricane runs into Florida at the end of September 2022. This is early October 2022, so like a week later, right? Listen to this.
Hurricanes are coming more in this hour, my children, and I know you will ask, why, Lord? It's stirring up the Atlantic.
Now, we know why, actually. We know why there are more hurricanes than usual. It's called climate change. But you can bet your bottom dollar she's a climate change denier, so she's got to come up with her own reason. Because you displeased God, that's why.
It's stirring up the Atlantic. Something in those waters was being used against you, and you will see it, because I will expose it.
I'm sorry? Something in the Atlantic Ocean was being used against God, and so the hurricanes were intended to expose it? What? Oh my God, this is getting crazy. I don't understand. What's she even talking about? What could possibly be exposed by a hurricane blowing water away? I don't know. Let's keep listening. See if she sheds some light on this.
But some of these storms were man-made to cause havoc and destruction along with devastation. But remember, my children, these are the days of Haman. They meant this for you, and it will expose and destroy them. I told you I am your protector and your deliverer, saith the Lord. Fear not, for I am always with you.
What? Man-made? Are you kidding? Some of these storms are man-made. So there's a weather gun somewhere that they're pointing at Florida and pulling the trigger and shooting a hurricane at it. Oh my God, dude. Where does she get these bizarre, unhinged, ass-backwards claims? And why does anybody believe her? I just don't get it. I'm not really sure why there's a little man in the corner of this one, or a little itty-bitty angel in the top left, or whatever. But yeah, check this one out. Early October 2022. She tries to lay more prophecies down for us. Watch how she does this. It's obvious once you see it.
You haven't heard it all regarding Twitter. More exposures will be released.
This is early October 2022 when this came out, okay? And she's talking about Twitter.
More exposures will be released. Things are not how they appear with this company.
More exposures will be released about Twitter. Things are not how they appear. What does that even mean? I don't understand what she's talking about.
And the world will soon hear it all. Amazon is about to be hit with exposures, and their stocks will begin to fall. Hidden agendas and a front for evil things behind closed doors. Amazon and everyone in control, you are being judged, and you will not stand when I move my hand, saith the Lord of hosts.
So Amazon and Twitter have been called out by name here. They're both under fire by Prophetess Julie Green, and God is going to expose them both for their evil practices. I don't even know. I don't know. But think about what she's doing here. So she mentions something that she believes is about to be a big news headline. She knew that there was like a deadline coming up where Musk was either going to have to purchase Twitter or face SEC violations and fines and all that other stuff. So what'd she do? She knows it's going to be a headline. She comes out there and says something is going to happen with Twitter. Twitter's going to be exposed, or you're going to find this thing or that thing or whatever else, because she knew it would be in the headlines. That's how she does this. It is all about making people think she knows what she's talking about. It's all about tricking people into believing she's somebody special through a combination of different propaganda techniques and fallacies, like the Texas sharpshooter fallacy. That's how she operates, and it's honestly sad that people buy it. It is deeply entertaining to hear some of the crazy shit that she comes out with, though. Oh my God, dude. Literally sitting here crying while she says, you should believe me rather than your lying eyes.
Believe me more than your enemies.
Just unhinged stuff, dude. Unhinged stuff. And I am just deeply entertained by it. Let me know what you think in the comments or on Twitter at Telltale Atheist. Limited light, yes, it could have been a call to violence. Yeah, it could have been, or she could have had inside information about it. I don't know. But one thing I am sure of, she doesn't have a direct line to God. At the very least, not on this issue. Because her prophecy did not come true, and that means the words she spoke are not from God, according to the Bible. I'm just directly pulling it out of the Bible. Deuteronomy 18:10-22, I think, is what it is. The Lord said to me, what they say is good. I will raise up for them a prophet like you from among their fellow Israelites, will put my words in his mouth. He will tell them everything I command him. I myself will call to account anyone who does not listen to my words, that the prophet speaks in my name. But a prophet who presumes to speak in my name anything I have not commanded, or a prophet who speaks in the name of other gods, is to be put to death. How can we know what message has not been spoken by the Lord? If what a prophet proclaims in the name of the Lord does not take place or come true, that is a message the Lord has not spoken. The prophet has spoken presumptuously. Do not be alarmed. I mean, it does not get much clearer than that. Doesn't get much clearer than that. I'm sorry. I don't believe a single word out of her mouth, but certainly not the Nancy Pelosi will be dead before the midterms thing. So it was not from God, period. We have proven that unequivocally. Now, here's the real question. Did she have inside information about somebody doing something messed up? It wasn't from God. Did she have inside information, or was it just a guess? She should be investigated for it, in my opinion.